Sometimes on this journey, I get lost in my mistakes. What looks to me like weakness is a canvas for your strength. And my story isn't over, my story's just begun. And failure won't define me, 'cause that's what my Father does. Yeah, failure won't define me, 'cause that's what my Father does. Lay your burdens down. Here in the Father's house. Check your shame at the door, 'cause it ain't welcome anymore. You're in the Father's house. Arrival's not the end game, the journey's where you are. You never wanted perfect, you just wanted my heart. And the story isn't over if the story isn't good. And failure's never final when the Father's in the room. And failure's never final when the Father's in the room. Prodigals come home, the helpless find hope. Love is on the move when the Father's in the room. Prison doors swing wide, the dead come to life. Love is on the move when the Father's in the room. Miracles take place, the cynical find faith, and love is breaking through when the Father's in the room. Jericho walls are breaking, strongholds now are shaking. Love is breaking through when the Father's in the room. Love is breaking through when the Father's in the room. Ooh, lay your burdens down. Ooh, here in the Father's house. Check your shame at the door, 'cause it ain't welcome anymore. Ooh, you're in the Father's house. Yeah. Lay your burdens down. Ooh, here in the Father's house. Check your shame at the door. Welcome anymore. Ooh, you're in the Father's house.
I am so happy that you have joined us today. We're going to be starting a new series, Being Honest with God. And as we ask the question today, how long, we're going to explore Psalm 13. But before we kind of jump into that, I wanted to share a little bit with you about me. Some of you know this about me, some of you don't. I used to be a runner. Now, not the kind of professional runner like those people who run 5Ks, 10Ks, 100Ks. Not like my wife who has done marathons, Chicago marathons, and turkey trots, all of that. No, I just really enjoyed running through the neighborhood, running on the school track, running out of the liquor store. I've just really enjoyed that kind of that kind of the adrenaline rush that it brings, the clear mind that it has, and I just love the feeling of getting all that energy. It just makes me feel really good. Now, one thing when it comes to kind of running, you can probably chat in the window if you can. If you've been a runner or not, go ahead and chat that in the window. Because those people who have done some kind of running really appreciate this thing right here that you'll see on the screen. This would be a mile marker. And basically what a mile marker is, it kind of tells you how much longer do I have to do this? How long is this thing going to be? Well, if I look here, it says 13 miles. Let's say I was running 15 miles. I can calculate and say, hey, I got about 2 miles left. I can do this. I can make this. I can keep going. And that feeling of, hey, I know when this is going to end. Now, one thing I'll throw out to you is this, is that for those of you that don't know, haven't run before, and maybe, but maybe you've gone to like a workshop or a seminar or a meeting for a day or two, and generally what they give you at those workshops, those seminars, those meetings, they give you an agenda. Did you know they've done a little bit of research about what people look at when it comes to those agendas? And what they look at is that most of the people look for 3 things when they see the agenda. The first one they look for is, where's the break? The second thing that they look for is lunchtime. The third thing that they look for is, when is this thing going to end, the end time? Now, I want you, when you get that last one wrong, you can make people upset. If you wrote down 4:30 as an end time and it's 6 o'clock, you're going to have some angry people there because they're thinking to themselves, how long is this thing going to go? Now, if we go back to the running example, and just imagine you're running this race, but you don't know how long this is going to take. How many miles? How many miles do I have left? How long must I keep running? If we switch it over and we look at our own personal life, our own spiritual life, some of us are in this season where we're asking the Lord, how long? Now, this is not let me be clear, this is not a patience sermon. This is a spiritual endurance, talking to God kind of thing. Because King David, in what he experienced, something was up in Psalm 13. Now, what Psalm 13 simply is this? It's a psalm of lament. And what a psalm of lament is simply this: God, I need your help. This is not right. Something's wrong. Now, there's multiple laments. Out of 150 psalms, about a third of them are laments. Let me just kind of wet your whistle with a little bit of what some of these laments sound like. Let's take a first one, Psalm 10. Why do you hide your face when I am in trouble? Psalm 42. Why have you forsaken me? Have you heard that before any place? How about this? Psalm 22. My God, why have you abandoned me? Now, when it comes to this psalm, we don't exactly know what was happening in David's life, but it was pretty serious. And the way that he's expressing himself can be a great roadmap for us as we are in a season, or we may know people who are in a season we're saying, how long, God, is this going to last? How long is this going to take? So let's jump right into it. If you open up your Bibles, please, Psalm 13. We're going to take verses 1 and 2, please, of Psalm 13. How long, O Lord, will you forget me? Forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I wrestle with my thoughts and every day have sorrow in my heart? How long will my enemies triumph over me? One thing that I look at for King David is this. We don't exactly know what was happening, But this particular picture that you're seeing on your screen was from Rome. And this is one of those big pictures of David and him throwing the rock into Goliath's head and knocking him down, the victory of our God. But you see this image of strength and of power. You never would have imagined that he would have ever said, how long is this going to go on? Have you forsaken me forever? You would never have imagined that. But he did. Like many of us who toiled through times of difficulty, who have asked the question, how long is this going to be? My big question, and the thing that we can learn from David is this. We can ask the question, what direction are we facing? So, if we have the choice here, all right, and let's call this the direction of God. Let's call this God right here. This thing, let's call this God. And let's call this people, and this me, and this everything else. Which direction are you facing with your complaint? Are you complaining here? This is so unfair. This is unjust. I can't believe this is happening to me. This is terrible. How long will this be? Are we facing this, the creation? Or are we facing God? Lord, this is completely unfair. Why are you allowing this to happen to me? I can't believe this is taking place. Why? Why? But I thought we weren't supposed to complain. Aha. We can complain when we are complaining in the right direction with a genuine honesty to God. How long, God? How long? Over my ministry, I have encountered lots of people, done lots of counseling, listened to lots of stories. And what I've done is simply put a little list. I put a little list together. And I just want to bring a few things of what people generally talk about when it comes to asking how long. So if you can hear this, maybe you're hearing it for yourself, maybe you're for someone else, fine, but just kind of hear these out. How long will I be in this job that is completely not my style? How long will I be unemployed? God. Or how long will I be infertile? How long will we keep trying to have kids? How long will it be till I can have the baby shower instead of just going to them? How long will I be in this marriage, this dysfunctional marriage, that I'm part of this dysfunction? How long will it be till things change? How long will it be, Lord, till I'm stopped being invited to a wedding and I can start inviting people? How long will it be that I keep dealing with this chronic this pain? How long will it be that I stay lonely like this and every day have sorrow in my heart? And my friends, trust me, the list can go on and on and on of how people have grimaced and waited. My question to you today is this: which direction are you facing with that how long complaint? Are you facing out here, or are you facing to where it needs to go? The second section is this, from verses 3 through 4. Look on me and answer me, O Lord. Give light to my eyes, or I will sleep in death. My enemy will say, I have overcome him, and my foes will rejoice when I fall. Now, notice the shift in energy, because this is the ask part. And it's kind of ironic that I'm even bringing this up as a reminder to Christians that we need to ask God, that we need to say something to God, that we need to ask him for help, that we need to be able to do that. You would have assumed that because we are all here, that we are believers, that this is easy enough. It's not. So this goes as a reminder to ask. In fact, I'm going to take one of the expressions in our society from a long time ago. You remember that expression? What? Be like Mike? How about that? Let me switch that around to ask like this leper. All right? Ask like this leper. Where it basically says, in Mark chapter 1, a man with leprosy came and knelt in front of Jesus, begging to be healed. If you are willing, you can heal me and make me clean, he says. Ask like Jairus, who pleaded fervently with him from Mark chapter number 5. My little daughter is dying, he said. Please come and lay your hand on her so she can live. And be like the woman whose child was demon-possessed. In Mark chapter 7, right away, a woman who had heard about him came and fell at his feet. Her little girl was possessed by an evil spirit, and she begged him to cast out demons from her daughter. Can you imagine that specific situation? Where that mother is hearing the sounds of a demon-possessed child in the other room, shouting, quiet, mumbling, whatever sounds they are, whatever satanic sounds that they were, and her turning up to heaven and saying, how long, O Lord, till my daughter is healed? Can you just imagine that? Ask. Ask. Now I bring this next passage to you because I bring this next passage to you because I want us to be able to say it together. Check this out. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray. And this is on your screen. If you would read it out loud with me. Philippians chapter 4. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all He has done. And you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your heart and your mind as you live in Christ Jesus. This is something for us to be able to hold fast to. This is something for us to be able to put our trust, in Him, being able to ask Him. The final section here that I want to bring to you is this in 5 through 6. But I trust in your unfailing love. My heart rejoices in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord, for He has been good. He has been good to me. I want to bring two things up. First of all, this was a condensed version. We don't fully understand how long King David was experiencing this. We don't know if it was days, weeks, months, or years. And for some of you, your waiting time, your how long, God, has been years that you've been saying this. So we don't know exactly how long. But I want to point something out to you, that he in a beautiful way, uses this word, but in a beautiful way. Basically, it kind of changes the sentence structure. The same way, the same word, yet. Depends on what translation you look at. Yet. Yet I will trust in you. Now get this. The problem hasn't even been solved, has it? But he's saying, regardless of that, yet I will trust in you. Yet I will have the hope. A buddy of mine that I went to seminary with, and he and I had the opportunity to work together for several years, kind of coined this expression in me that really, really shaped a spirit of hope. And he would always use yet. So he would bring it up in conversation. I don't have that new sports car yet. Or he would say that I haven't gone on that big trip yet. I haven't had that baby yet. I haven't gotten that great job yet. And for some of us, that can be a great pick-me-up because there's a sense of hope that things will change and be better. And that whatever we're facing right now, maybe I'm in a situation now, I've been praying for something, yet I believe that God, you will come through. And for us, we need that sense of hope and spirit as we ask and we we see this example of Jesus and how key this is. Now, what I want to do is this. I want to bring to you just some ways of thinking about your relationship with God. And I call it the I believes. I believe that you are good, God. I believe that you are wise, God. I believe that you can be trusted. And when we have that as our baseline, understand that Christ is our all in all and has given us power in this life to be strong, to be our Lord, to be our God. This is key. I want to share with you this video clip right now. And what it is it's a little conversation that one of the pastors that I have admired for years. I did a little study with him a long time ago with some of his materials. I should say we just concluded one. Chad just concluded one with a young adults roundtable. It was a very good discussion. But he's really made an impression. Chris and I went to his church. Really made an impression on me. Well, he got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. As most of you know, that's a very difficult cancer to treat. But just the way that he expresses his faith and then the composition of the faith of the people of the world, and then the faith in God. I just want you to sit back for a moment, and I want you to hear, I want you just to hear what he has to say. I just want you to hear what he has to say with that.
So in May of this year, I was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and as you all know, that's a particularly difficult kind of cancer to treat. And the treatments, the chemotherapy, actually are pretty rough in many ways. I have many days in which I'm feeling pretty sick, but the very first scan that we took after 2 months of chemotherapy was promising. In other words, the chemo is actually treating the cancer. And so we have some good hopes on the medical side that we can arrest it in many ways and try to hold it at bay. So the future is still very much medically in doubt, and yet at the same time, the first signs are pretty encouraging. I don't think I'll go any further talking about that because it is still pretty early in our treatment, my treatment, and